On this episode of SUTV News, we give you one last election recap before the 2020 election. And we provide an inside look with the Career Center so you seniors can get ready for applying to jobs. Stay tuned for this episode of SUTV News. Today in the Cub, the Graduate Students Association Board had a table set up promoting their breast cancer awareness fundraiser. This fundraiser is a 5K walk that benefits breast cancer research. The walk is taking place this Saturday, October 31st from 12 to 3 p.m. Each participant will start at the Railroad Museum on the rail trail. There's a $15 registration fee for adults that includes a free t-shirt, and kids can walk for free. Volunteers are still needed for this event, so if you are interested or have any questions, please contact Roneka Jones at rj2769@ship.edu. Looking for career advice, seniors? The Career Center has all the resources to get you ready for graduation. SUTV's Ian Sherlock has more.
With the end of the fall semester quickly approaching, now is the perfect time for seniors to begin job hunting. Luckily for SHIP students, the Career Mentoring and Professional Development Center located in Cub 108 has everything a student needs to make a difficult task much easier. The office is able to help students with resumes and cover letters, as well as perform mock interviews for students to get feedback on what to expect and how to handle tough questions. Assistant Director and Career Mentoring and Professional Development Center, Tracy Montoro, spoke about the importance of networking when looking for jobs.
SHIP Connects, which is Shippensburg's new official networking platform, and it's a place for the Shippensburg community to connect, so alumni, faculty, staff, and students. And to go into there for a student and find an alumni or find an alumnus who is in their industry, they could connect with them and start finding out where they did their job search. They could find out what types of opportunities that they would have in the place that they're employed, but really going in there and using those alumni as mentors.
Shippensburg University now offers its own networking platform called SHIP Connects that students, faculty, and alumni can use to network with one another. Lastly, the center offers a professional dress closet for students to use.
But anyone on campus, any student that needs professional dress, whether it's for a presentation, an internship, an interview, they can come in here during our express hours and they can get a whole outfit, and there's no cost, and you keep it, you don't give it back to us. So you can do that once per semester.
The center is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30.
A terrorist attack in the French city of Nice has killed 3 people. CNN's Cyril Vanier has more from Paris.
On Thursday morning, as France was preparing for a new coronavirus stay-at-home order, the country was reminded once more of the ongoing terror threat here. An assailant entered the Notre Dame Basilica in the southern city of Nice around 9 a.m. local time wielding a knife, and that attack left 3 people dead. One victim whose throat was cut, another who was stabbed multiple times, and a third who initially managed to flee the church but then died of her wounds moments later. Police arrived quickly. They shot the assailant, did not kill him, and the assailant is now receiving medical treatments. The mayor of Nice, who was on the scene shortly after the attack, says the assailant shouted Allah Akbar multiple times, God is great in Arabic, this while he was being treated. The investigation is being handled by France's counterterrorism prosecutor. Speaking from Nice, President Macron said that it was France itself that had come under attack and noted that even as Nice was being targeted thousands of miles away in Saudi Arabia, at the same time, the French consulate in Jeddah was also the target of a knife attack. For the moment, we don't know if those two events are connected. And for here in Nice, we don't know. We have very little information on the identity of the assailant or his motives. But recent context is worth bearing in mind. This is the 3rd terror attack in France in a month, and the first 2 were linked to publications of cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad by a French publication. We don't know if what happened today has any relation to that, but certainly the timing does raise some serious questions. Cyril Vanier, Paris.
5 days from tonight, the American people will let their voices be heard. SUTV's Jacob Hitz takes a look for us at the presidential race in its final days.
We are going to win 4 more years in our great, beautiful White House.
There's President Donald Trump calling his shot Wednesday from Goodyear, Arizona. Both candidates are on the campaign trail now, bouncing from state to state in the final week of the election. On Thursday, Vice President Pence visits Iowa and Nevada, while President Trump makes campaign stops in North Carolina and Florida, 2 must-win states for him. Former Vice President Biden also plans to be in Florida, making 2 stops. Senator Kamala Harris visited Arizona on Wednesday in an effort to get Arizona to vote for a Democrat for the first time since Bill Clinton in 1996. While campaigning Wednesday, Joe Biden had this to say about the looting and violence going on in the city of Philadelphia.
There is no excuse whatsoever for the looting and the violence. None whatsoever. I think to be able to protest is totally legitimate, it's totally reasonable, but I think that the looting is just, as the victim's father said, do not do this. It's not what my son, you're not helping, you're hurting, you're not helping my son.
Meanwhile, in Arizona,
Today I'm announcing the American Dream Plan. Over the next 4 years, the American Dream Plan will bring more than 2 million new jobs to Hispanic communities, create over 500,000 new Hispanic-owned small businesses, which will end up being large businesses if I know you, and I know you well.
also announced this week, she's back. That's right. Hillary Clinton is back. She's serving as one of the electors for the state of New York among the 538 people that will ultimately decide who gets to live on Pennsylvania Avenue for the next 4 years. But before we get to that point, however, it's 5 more days of campaigning, getting out the vote, attack ads, and fundraisers. For SUTV News, I'm Jacob Hitz.
As Election Day draws near, it's important to remember that it's not just the White House up for grabs. SUTV's Adam Beam has some of the key races to look out for in the House and the Senate.
While all eyes are on the presidential election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, as we are less than a week away from election night, it's important to also focus on the race for the House and the Senate, as current polls show a chance for the Democrats to take back control. Currently, as it stands, the Republicans have a majority in the Senate, 53 to 47 to be exact. But in the 35 seats up for re-election, it could come down to 7 key races. Right now, the main targets for Democrats are Maine with Sarah Gideon, North Carolina with Cal Cunningham, and Iowa with Teresa Greenfield. In these 3 races, the Republican incumbents have been struggling in the polls alongside President Trump. The Democrats also have their eyes on Georgia, with it having a special election similar to Arizona. There's also Montana and South Carolina as well. Turning things over to the House, it still looks like the Democrats have a chance at taking back control. This would be crucial for either party during this election, as this year is the last year before census data is released, which could allow whichever party is in power to redraw the congressional map in their favor, or as it's often known as, gerrymandering. In the 2010 election, Republicans had control of the 2011 redistricting process. This was in large part to the 21 state legislators and 6 governorships they picked up that year, with which they were able to draw 55% of congressional districts, while Democrats drew just 10%. But currently, projections are showing that Democrats have a chance to gain between 10 to 20 seats in former Republican districts during this election. One surprising seat that the Democrats are seeking is in Texas, though they would need to flip 9 of the chamber's 150 seats, which isn't the first time this has occurred, as Beto O'Rourke had secured the same number of Republican districts during his 2018 Senate race. Nowhere in the country has there been a surge of voting to match the one in Texas. Through 2 weeks of in-person early voting, more than 6.9 million Texans have voted, a figure that accounts for more than 3/4 of the entire 2016 turnout. The turnout is the highest in the state's biggest metropolitan areas, which are the core state House battlegrounds. While both parties are targeting certain states as we inch closer to Election Day, no doubt every vote is going to count, and each party will need every one that they can get. And it's important to remember that these elections are just as important as the one for the White House in determining the outcome for the next 4 years. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam.
SHIP Votes will be providing transportation to the polls on Tuesday. Their goal is to maximize voter registration and participation among SHIP students. For more information, please contact Dr. Mark Spica at mespic@ship.edu. And finally tonight, a food critic finds a COVID time creative outlet that leads to gourmet dining for a small woodland creature. It may seem a little nutty, but the miniature gourmet chipmunk restaurant is creative enough to inspire a social media following. The elaborate mini meals are the brainchild of Georgia food critic Angela Hansberger, who began crafting fine dining fare on her porch in April for her furry patron, Thelonious Monk. You see, it's funny because he is a chipmunk. Monk has since enjoyed an impressive array of mini meals, including a backyard barbecue and rodent ramen bar. The hobby has offered the homebound food critic a creative outlet during the pandemic. It's also garnered her thousands of followers on Instagram and a profile in Bon Appetit magazine. And with that, we'll be signing off from this week's episode of SUTV News. I'm Bailey Casada. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SUTV News, and check out our website at sutvnews.org. Have a great week, everyone.